So before we get going here, I want to tell you guys a couple things. So moving forward from here on out, tonight the prelims were on Fox Sports 2. From now on, they'll be on Fox Sports 1 from here on out. So like the first night that we went on air, there'll be 5 hours of fighting on Fox Sports 1 when we do these fight nights. And Vitor Belfort and Dan Henderson, they're fighting Saturday, November 9th in Brazil, and that fight will be on Fox Sports 1 too. The attendance tonight was 5950. The gate was 355 290. Fight of the night was Condit versus Kampmann. KO of the night was Thatch. On TV, I called him Thatcher. I apologize for that. And submission of the night is Zach Cummings. Everybody won 50 grand. Congrats to them. These guys will be here in a minute. Who's first?
Hey, Dana, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good. Is it safe to say that you enjoyed this trip to Indiana more than you enjoyed 119 3 years ago?
Yeah.
That one, you came here and then you bailed out of the back. You didn't want to stay and hang out with us at all.
I forgot about that, yeah.
Well, you didn't forget about that.
It's good to be here tonight. Yeah, it was a good night.
Can you give me your thoughts on Eric Perez? Obviously, a lot of hype on him going into the fight and kind of got taken down a peg.
Yeah, it happens. You never know. I mean, anything can happen on any given night.
And then obviously, conversely, you have someone like Thatch who's highly hyped coming in and then lives up to it. And I wonder kind of about your guys' thought processes behind the scenes when something like that goes your way versus when something like that doesn't go your way, like maybe like a Hector Lombard or something like that.
Well, there's never a goes our way or doesn't go our way. We're in the fight business, and we have 475 guys under contract. Mm-hmm. Whoever wins, wins. And he's the guy that moves forward. And believe me, I quit many, many years ago saying, oh, this guy's got to win and that guy's got to win. It doesn't work that way. Whoever wins, wins. And reality is better than anything you could ever dream up. So sure. Thatch wins tonight. It looks impressive. People are buzzing about him. People are talking about him on Twitter. Tonight's his night.
And obviously, this is the one where you say, well, we'll figure that out later. But is that somebody that, since he didn't suffer any damage, obviously you put him back in there really quick and see what he can do?
Yeah, no doubt about it. He looked, and I was just telling Kelvin on the way in here, Kelvin looked awesome tonight too. Yeah.
Thanks. I know you've had a chance to avenge the loss in the past. Does a win like that feel any different than a regular fight?
I don't know. I'm still processing it. So, maybe ask me in a few days.
Fair enough. Martin came out very early on, kind of charged at you, takedown, looked like he wanted to keep the fight on the mat the whole time. Were you surprised that that's what he does? I mean, he's known more for his striking, although he is a good wrestler. Were you surprised with his game plan?
No, I wasn't surprised. I mean, my last two fights, I haven't been able to stop the takedown. And, initially in this fight, I wasn't either. But, once we got going, I was able to stop more takedowns and start implementing my game.
Why were you suddenly able to stop him after the first round? The first round, I think he was 4 for 5 after that, really struggled. What was the difference?
I don't know. Maybe I just got warmed up, or maybe he's getting tired. I couldn't tell you.
Carlos, earlier this week, Martin was telling us how he needed to break out of his slow start streak. He'd had a couple slow starts in a row. Do you feel like he had an uncharacteristic fast start tonight, or did you have a slow start that surprised you?
He got the takedown, and he kind of took control initially. Yeah, I guess he started out fast, but I kind of weathered the storm. He didn't put me in really any trouble. I guess he took my back in the first, but I got through that, and then obviously was able to turn the fight around.
Was there a point where you felt him slowing down at all, and where you felt yourself like, all right, this is really going in my direction now? I can start to take over.
Going into the second round, I don't know. I felt like I was coming alive, and so I would say the second round.
And then Martin, right down here. I was just asking Carlos. You talked to us early this week about wanting to break out of your slow starts that you had the first two fights, and it appeared like you did that tonight. Was there a point where you felt the tide turning, where you felt things starting to go Carlos's way?
Yeah, I mean, I got the fast start I wanted. and got off the bat, but I gassed myself out completely. After the first round, I didn't feel I had nothing left. I just went into survival mode. I felt I was just dead tired after that first round. I could feel Carlos kept pushing a strong pace, and you know, I wanted to keep pushing too, but I didn't have gas in the tank for it. And I've been working hard on my cardio, and I've been feeling great. So it, you know, I was going hard 5 rounds in training, and you know, sometimes the adrenaline dump or whatever, but I didn't have the gas left after the first one.
And you feel like that's a direct result of wanting to come out much faster than you did the last 2 times?
If what?
Do you feel like that's like gassing out earlier than you wanted to was a direct result of wanting to come out faster this time?
I mean, the faster you start, the faster you're going to get tired too, right? But you know, I wanted to come out and start good. I felt, you know, I did good the first round, and got the takedowns I wanted. I didn't get the finish I wanted, and I got tired and couldn't keep up with the pace he was going at. That's how he won.
Martin, coming out from this fight, what would you do differently going into the next one? Is it going to be a difference in your preparation, or maybe just the pace of the fight, or maybe you just come out and pick your form at the wrong time?
I don't know, what's the last part you said?
Or maybe you just, you know, when you guys training, you come into a peak your form, but sometimes you don't time it wisely, and you kind of miss this peak, and you're overtraining and you're overexhausting yourself.
You know what? I felt great in training. I felt I was in great shape. I was going 5 hard, you know, killer pace in training. But you know, Carlos, he kept pushing a pace, and after that first round, I just got dead tired, and I couldn't keep up with the pace, and I was tired. I was really tired, and it doesn't feel good to get tired in a fight, especially when the other guy's pushing forward. But then you just got to dig deep and keep going and keep fighting. But you know, I felt that I was pretty damn tired. But you know, hats off to Carlos. He did a good job.
And no one's mentioned it yet. I thought I would. I saw on Twitter you mentioned that in the Roger Bowling fight that you thought that it was not an illegal kick. It was a little hard from some angles on press row to see.
It literally was not illegal. It was not an illegal knee. That kid won the fight, and I want to pay him his win.
Carlos.
Second knee hit him in the shoulder.
Carlos, where do you feel you fit now into the title picture?
I think that, you know, I solidified myself as a contender. Yeah, I think that, you know, I'm still, you know, maybe a fight away from another title shot. I hope.
Carlos, congratulations on your victory. You talked about the takedowns you gave up against St. Pierre and Hendricks. They're obviously 2 pretty good takedown artists. Did you see that as a chink in your armor? Were you working on it a lot before this fight?
Yeah, I definitely was. You know, Martin is a very well-rounded fighter. He's a good striker, but he's also got good, you know, he's good all around. So I knew that was something I would have to, you know, work on quite a bit. I brought, you know, I worked with Izzy Martinez, I worked with Ricky Lindell, and I worked with Jake Herbert, who was a 2012 Olympian on my wrestling. And you know, I was able to, you know, defend some takedowns, you know, that I most likely wouldn't have been able to, you know, had I not worked with those guys. So, you know, a lot of thanks, a lot of gratitude towards them.
And you're in a unique position, having fought St. Pierre and Hendricks. Can you share your thoughts on how you think their meeting in November will go?
You know, Hendricks, you know, he's obviously a very dangerous guy. He can end a fight with one punch. But I think George St. Pierre is too technical, and also, you know, Hendricks has shown that he fades towards the end of the third, or, you know, towards the third round, and now he's got 2 extra rounds to go. So, you know, I think George is gonna, you know, probably take control towards the end of the fight and you know, and come out on top.
Okay, Carlos here. We talked with Coach Valle during the week. He told us to watch out for your pace. That was one of the things you worked in camp. How did you achieve this pace? How did you control it during the fight, just to not gas out and go hard for 4 rounds?
It's all in the preparation. I worked really hard. I have an incredible strength and conditioning regimen that I'm doing. At a place called Elevate Performance Health and Wellness in Albuquerque, and we're working. They're incredible trainers, but we're also working with sports physiologists and really dialing in and fine tuning our training. And I think that's really made a difference. And we're training smarter as well as harder. And then, on top of that, I have, just a great camp to get ready for these fights with. And, it all, culminated in the win tonight.
And it looked to me that you were a little more cautious, a little more clinical, and just watching your space better, using the leg better just to give into your range. How did you apply this during the fight? Was it any different from the last fight?
Yeah, range is very important, of course. And, once I found my range, I was able to start landing. Martin Kampmann, he's a kickboxer, and so that's a comfortable range for me. So some of the other guys, the last two guys I fought, they're wrestlers, and they were able to close that distance. That's something that I still have to work on. Martin was able to close the distance on me and take me down also, but it's always a work in progress.
Thanks.
Carlos, did you feel any added pressure coming off the losses? Did you do anything different in your preparation for tonight's fight?
I trained harder. I trained more focused. I didn't let that, the thought of those last fights consume me, but I used I used the mistakes that I made in those fights as teaching tools, and really, I was really motivated to improve in those aspects of the game that I was lacking, basically.
Martin, I know you mentioned that you were exhausted after the first round, but did you feel that the lacerations that you suffered and the cuts that you suffered, did that affect you at all? I know that, it was, in your vision, did that affect your vision at all? And did that play a factor during the course of the fight?
Yeah, I mean, it's never fun to get cut in a fight, but I'm kind of used to it. I kind of get cut every fight, I cut real easy, but at least I make good scars. So, but, I think, just being exhausted was the main thing.
And then one for Carlos. I know every fight's important, but you seem to really embrace the urgency of this particular fight. In the pre-fights, talking about do or die, the bigger picture. How did that motivate you going into this camp and knowing what was on the line in this fight?
I didn't want three losses in a row, and then I definitely didn't want two losses to Martin. The first fight was really close, and I didn't want it to be close. I wanted to come out and make a statement, in preparation, that was a big big motivation for me, and it went well. It was my night.
We'll do one more.
One question for you, Dana.
Go ahead, buddy.
One word to describe tonight.
One word. I'm happy with tonight. It's great fights. A lot of young up-and-coming talent look good tonight, and a lot of veterans look good tonight. So it was a great night. Very happy. Crowd was great. Place was great. A lot better than last time. Thank you guys so much for coming. We appreciate it. Have a good night.